I need to make another point, if I may, and that is that the gullibility of the public has been the reason for what I would call hogwash. And may I quote an example that illustrates this? We were told that we've been to the moon. And I noticed in the film on the supposed moon landing that there was a Willys Jeep there, dressed up as a rover and called a moon vehicle, that apparently was on that cardboard box looking thing that landed there. That Willys Jeep there, that apparently was never seen being unloaded and mounted from that ridiculous little fragile thing that would never hold a Willys Jeep, even in bits. And yet the public seemed to be able to say, yes, well, we went to the moon. Well, you'd have to be half a half-wit, wouldn't you, to be able to say that a Willys Jeep can suddenly emerge from that, and there was no evidence that any bits were brought out of it at any stage at all. In any case, it would never fit in, and the tremendous weight of it, when they were worried about the weight of their spacesuits, and were actually measuring up how they could reduce the weight even in the tiniest little things like that, and there was a Willys Jeep there. Now, the gullibility of the public, and I'm talking about people with academic credentials who are telling me that there was a landing on the moon several times over. It was so easy to do that one landing after another popped up one after another, and I can remember it because it was in the winter of 1969. It was the year I married, and I remember the absolute nonsense that I sucked in myself, because I was actually at that stage young enough and careless enough in my thinking to absorb what was going on as being fact. And this charade that was put on, right, is only one example of the sort of thing I'm quoting. Now, with the public so gullible that they'll accept such nonsense as a landing on the moon, when scientists at NASA today are talking about, not just one, but several scientists I have heard talking about searching for a way to get to the moon. Now, what do they do? I thought we'd been there. I thought we'd already...
Oh, they lost the technology, Philip.
One scientist said that we haven't got the technology because we've thrown it away or given it away or lost it or something, and we can't get it back again. And I thought to myself, well, that sounds to me the absolute apex of naivety, but that's something that supposedly I've got to believe. And other scientists are saying that the Van Allen belt is impenetrable and we're still trying to work out how to do it. I know they had a few layers of tinsel to be able to protect the astronauts that apparently went to the moon in 1969, but these are the sorts of things that I've got in the background that officialdom is telling me I'm supposed to believe. Now, coming back from the moon, where we've had what we would call a real jaunt, right? And back to the land where COVID apparently prevails, right? We have a system of vaccination where the actual, what I would call thing, or whatever you call it, is patented as a bioweapon. Now hold on, you can't get a patent unless you actually specify exactly what you're doing and it's investigated thoroughly and it stands up straight. So they stood it up straight all right, and they said exactly what it was. It was a bioweapon. So on that basis, my decision to give this thing a miss, a wide margin of miss, right, well away from it, right, was a very sensible, sound decision. But it brings me back to the fact that the public are accepting things with a gullibility that's secundus de nullo. It's not actually even believable that people would swallow the hook, line, sinker, and the fisherman as well. It just doesn't seem to me to be anywhere near what I would call a reasoned, logical construction in the mind, building a confidence with some sort of measure. Now, I'm not talking about a measure in numbers. I'm not talking about 63% and 81%. I'm talking about, is this common sense?